Hi, good evening. Good morning everyone. I think it was so we had the entire KYC session. So I've been given this topic of automation and digitization in mutual fund industry. So we'll start with what has been the entire journey of the mutual fund industry. So you might have seen that how it has increased sixfold. So we previously it was 7.66 trillion, and today we are at 46 trillion. So I think that is the entire huge jump that has happened, sixfold in the matter of 10 years. Similarly, investor folio count has increased double. So I think it was 7.66, it has gone to 15.42. And even the SIP registration, the major cause of the entire penetration, what has happened is sevenfold increase, where it was just 1.1 crore registrations, and today we have around 6.97, around 7 crore investors already registered for SIP. So here, if you see, SIP has been a huge changer. In 2016, that time year 2016, we used to get around 3,000 crores of input value. Today we had 15,000 crore input value. And I think you can see even the mutual fund industry, there was a time, I was that time in the AMC industry, and that time we used to see when in 2016, I used to prepare presentations and I used to be a part of those. We were thinking that we will reach only 20 trillion by 2020. But 2017 we already reached 20 trillion, and at 2020 we were at 30 trillion. So the mutual fund industry is growing at a faster pace, and it's really phenomenal. So I think that's hats off to all of you who have been a part of this entire journey. Now, what do you think could be a part of this entire thing? The first you can see is the most important part is the digitization. So everything that was physical has started happening digital. Your each transactions, even a form, even filling entire mobile apps coming into place, everything has moved and it has become very easy to do business. So you see, previously people have to go to each person's house to collect forms. Those physical forms used to be NFOs, wherein physically people used to do. Currently, it has become digital. Ease of doing business, it has become easier to just take a mobile app, send it to all your clients, say that I want these forms, send them this link, the app is there, it becomes easy, able to fill it, get the transaction going, and the transaction is done. So I think that ease has happened. What happens for the customer? He doesn't have to fill a physical form. He doesn't have to sit and beside you. You do not have to sit and explain. Everything happens on the phone. Today there are video calls that happen. There are Zoom calls that are happening. So this entire COVID time also has helped us understand how important and how easy it is to do entire business through a digital mode. So it has led to an operational convenience for the customer. Next part is also, it has now started because of this. Previously people had to start couriering the forms from the tier 2, tier 3 cities. There the form will reach after 2 days, and then they'll punch in the form. So you have lost that NAV for that period. What happens is here, penetration of the digitization into those tier 2, tier 3 cities, they can just click. They have, today you have multiple forms, you have those bulk upload options, everything happens at a click of a button. The customer is also clicking that link, confirming his transaction, and it moves further. Next part is like adaptability to the entire environment. So everyone, previously no one had thought that like whether, there were a lot of my colleagues, friends and all used to think that I have to go and advise a client only physically. In this COVID times, you came to know what happened. The importance of digital came in, wherein there was a possibility of doing things digitally, and that's what came to light through this entire period, this last 2-3 years. People started realizing that there is an option of doing business through an easy, that's a digital mode. The digital platform started picking up the entire business, and you saw that how exponentially the thing started increasing. Next, and the most important part, it also reduced your cost. If today the transportation cost, the physical, you have to go there to meet that person, printing cost, everything got reduced to a large extent because the cost also came down. By a click of a button, you send a mail, the cost of sending a mail there through these broadcast mechanism would be less than 2 paise. So that sending mechanism, that capturing this business using digital platforms reduced your cost and helped in the scalability of business. So that was a huge game changer in ensuring this exponential increase in the MF industry. Some examples, just put it down here. Like today you have to go take these physical forms, go to the market, go to that client, do that. Now today it's possible to do digitally. Second, physical latch. So I think as you have to fill this physical form, there was scan mandate, there were other mandates, but e-mandate came in, which changed again. Things are happening faster. E-mandate currently, even NPCI is working quite robustly, and you might have seen that on 1st of August, the mandate limit had increased to 50 lakhs, and today on 15 September, it has increased to 1 crore. So it's in line with your physical mandate. So either there is an advantage. Yes.
So a question here, why for joint and for anyone or survival do you require a physical mandate? Why not?
Currently, see, the e-mandate mechanism, so we'll come to that, but e-mandate mechanism, it goes to, what is the authentication mechanism? You have to go to your net banking. If you select, it goes to your customer ID, and there you select and authenticate it. Currently, it is only for one holder. So maybe NPCI, when they come up, that they start authenticating for, that links go to all the holders, and they are able to authenticate, then it is possible. Currently, this mechanism is they have to work out on enhancing that. So today you have a debit card, only one holder can be, because the link is in such a way which through the payment gateway providers they have provided that. So if things are evolving, and NPCI is also understanding the need for it, that's the reason they have increased. See, otherwise they would have not increased. There was a time it was just 2 lakhs, it went to 5 lakhs, then 10 lakhs, and now today we are at 1 crore, which is in line with the other things. I'm sure, and in the long run, this also will be addressed. And that's what I am completely.
One question, private limited partnership also, I think e-mandate is not possible.
Current non-individual, it's not possible. See, the non-individuals have to follow that. That's why I said no. So those are the things. We are in touch with NPCI, because next week NPCI team is coming to our office. We'll be taking that point with them. So there is a engagement that keeps on happening, and we have those discussions. We are sure to see to it how we can take it to that next level. So I think that is what is important. So good, we can note down these points. Ashish, note down these points. Then we can always have these in the interaction. Okay, now one more part which I have not mentioned here is one of the major, also you might have seen in the last few years, one of the major changes also was UPI. Now what the UPI has increased the number of transactions that are happening on a monthly basis. Okay, last year I was just checking those figures. In last June 22 it was around 4.6 billion, and today we stand at 9.3 billion transactions per month. So that's huge, and it's becoming easier for people to do UPI transactions and do business. Now the next part is, what are the digital channels? So you'll see mostly there are, one way is AMC websites. You can go do that business through the AMC website. There are 40 AMCs, 45 AMCs. Now the AMCs are increasing, and you can see you can go individually to those, do that transaction. Second, there are channel partners. So big channel partners, like you have the banks, the PSU banks. There are big brokers. So there you can go to those, and they get registered. Again, they have to tie up separately for doing the business with the AMCs, and individually start segregating and sending those transactions. Last is exchange platform. Then you're seeing exchange platform today, we tie up with all 42 AMCs. Okay, and accordingly, once you fill the transaction, you get a drop down of having, you select which transaction, which scheme you want to do it as per whatever you are guiding your investor, and it becomes easier for you to do these transactions through the digital mode. So that's the way that so here you do not have to go into those separate AMC websites. You do not have to go into separate tie-ups with the AMC for transaction processing. Here it becomes easier as a one-stop shop wherein you can do business. Now what happens for a mutual fund distributor? What is digitization? So I think digitization here, 3-4 activities that are there. One is client onboarding, Second is transaction processing. Third is use of APIs. So how in client onboarding, what can be digitized and what has to be digitized? So if you see client onboarding, what happens is there are 3-4 things, 3-4 mechanisms that are there. One is you have your investor consent. Okay, you fill in the entire form online. Mail goes to the investor, clicks on that, and it is authenticated. Second is you have your KYC checking. So there are APIs through the platform wherein it gets checked whether this client is a KYC compliant. Third is instead of giving a check, you have your penny drop mechanism which is there. Please. So if anyone wants to have any calls, we can continue outside so that others are not disturbed. Thank you. Penny drop, so bank validation today happens through a penny drop mechanism. So amount is credited to their account and that we get a response, check whether this bank account is authentic and the transaction. So if all these three things happen, investor consent, investor onboarding happens on the fly. So that easy is the entire onboarding process. Similarly, transaction process has become quite seamless, wherein you are entering that transaction for all types of investors, individuals, NRIs, across all AMCs. And as per this, once it goes to that to those platform, what happens is we have the back office team who will do the entire fund reconciliation. Check whether against that transaction the credit has come in, because you know at present without credit the transaction cannot move to the AMC. So those things move on and you'll be able to ensure that the transaction is processed or immediately and you get the response according to that. So this is transaction processing, fund reconciliation, which happens through a digital mechanism. And the last
side, no? Transaction information from the both side. That is, the investor also will get and the distributor also will get.
Correct. So you'll get that information from because now two-factor authentication, what happens is you need to have that mechanism wherein the confirmation from the client is very mandatory. So you'll get the entire thing. You have sent those details. Without authentication from the client, that cannot proceed further. So he clicks it, you capture the details, you are able to view those details even on the login. The last part is the use of APIs. There are a lot of distributors who are using today. They might be having their own websites and they need to connect. So what is an API? It facilitates you to execute transactions through your own portal, okay, acting as a transaction routing interface. So you can use these routing interfaces, routing interfaces, and for the customer it appears that he is using your platform and he is consuming in the backend our APIs, and the transaction processing and the backend processing happens through our platform. So that is the ease. So we have just said, now all these three things which enable digitization is available through NSE. In addition to that, we have gone ahead and you might have seen, we also ensure operational compliance. So in everything that we do, our focus has been ensuring the entire operational compliance. So you see what we have done, not only onboarding, we went one step further. We did even, you might have seen on in our onboarding process, the modification also we introduced digitally. So it becomes easier for any modification. Suppose you want to initially put one transaction, after that stain some client details and move further, the consent from the investor happens digitally. Second is we have been focusing, you might have seen that in the last entire one and a half year, okay, the entire journey has been completely that regulatory changes. You have nomination, you have this, you have that, so many things. But we have tried to see to it that how we make this journey for the distributor as well as the investor much more user friendly, and that is what we have ensured. You'll see two-factor authentication also. There were a lot of options. People said, oh, no, if you have joint holders, we require confirmation, or you wait for everyone to come, then you go. But we said, why do you want to disturb the journey for the customer? He is coming, a primary holder, along with when he is placing the transaction, his authentication, he makes the payment. and then you give those entire details. So we have, and then the second holder, the third holder can do it subsequently. The details of it are there in our transaction detail report. So we are not only doing this digitally, not only focusing on convenience to the distributor, as well as our entire objective is to ensure even compliance. Because tomorrow it should not happen that today whatever you do, you get a regulatory issue, that there is some issue that you have not followed certain compliance. So we take that ownership, and you have seen that all our things, before it gets implemented, you get a communication, okay, that this has been implemented. Few days back there was another thing that came in from NPCI which we had to implement. So we send a mail and then implement. So our entire endeavor is, our entire process, whenever we implement anything, first we inform our team that this has been implemented, we explain to the team, they are convinced on that, then we go and send a mail with the details to the distributor, and then we implement it. So that's the process that we follow. So it becomes, the communication comes in through, so that people are aware about whatever is happening in the details.
How it differ from BSC?
Yeah.
How it different from BSC?
See, in the BSc part, okay, now I'll go into that details subsequently. That's what I'm saying. I'll meet you separately. So there are a lot of people are aware of this, but in short, that I'll not get so that we can have a separate discussion. I will never want to have a different result.
Let's
So
move
that
to
you
new
can-
additions. What are the new additions?
Sir, one main thing is that is alteration of IFSC code in the bank details. It is not happening online. It is not happening in digital mode.
There
So,
are some things.
whether this is available.
So it will happen. You have to have subsequent. So whatever is possible online, wherein you can take an investor consent, those things can happen online. Certain things will require a copy, a physical copy, like you require the check copy, or that requires a mechanism of doing a physical part. Otherwise, wherever is possible, the name, the email, the contact details, the nomination details.
No, other
all
things
those
are okay.
Yes,
Other
so
things
that's
so
how
we can use.
Change your bank procedure.
MC,
should be
so
on.
that then we can see, we are working on that. It's not like we are seeing to it how that can be seamlessly integrated. We don't stop it integration. Plus what we are doing, we are trying to work out on seeing to it how the non-financial transactions can flow to the RTAs also. So that is another process that is being worked out. So we will keep you updated on that. Okay.
क्लाइंट ऑनबोर्डिंग के लिए केवाईसी के लिए कुछ है क्या इसमें?
E-KYC is already there. Our E-KYC process is already there since last few years. So आप एक बार you can go through that. In that we have introduced, previously there was only the video and others. अभी recently through DigiLocker also has come. So you can have that look at that.
KRA कौन सी यूज होता है उसमें?
Camps किया है.
नहीं मतलब ये NSE प्लेटफॉर्म में डिजी लॉकर के थ्रू ऑनलाइन केवाईसी हो जाएगा।
Yes. अपना E-KYC वाला लिंक है. अपना जैसे मैं कंप्लीट करता हूँ.
So just a request, we just complete the
हाँ, फिर एक बार मैं I just quickly last 2-3 है, then we can have a. So quickly I'll just go through. We have along with mutual fund, we have our sovereign wealth SGB that is there on our platform. We have the family wrap facility for all the investors. When they have suppose multiple family members and want to be linked, that can be there. Plus we have various reports which give you, as I told you today, you get to know that the entire tracking of that part. When we introduced like two-factor authentication, you come to know which holder has authorized it, whether the funds are transferred, whether funds have gone to the AMC. Entire details are there in our transaction detail report, which helps you to know. It reduces your calls to our back office, and you come to know on the front end what is the status of that transaction. And we have our help desk, okay, which is already there, our back office helpline number, plus our entire regional team. I'll be sharing that on the screen, and then you can check at our stall also, that is there. They'll be guiding you through the entire platform. So I'll not go too much in detail, but all these, so we have client onboarding, transaction processing, reports, MIS, all these features in detail is there on our platform. And we would, apart from that, we also have a mobile app for the distributors, wherein we facilitate transactions for mutual funds. So I think what we'll do is, I'll not, any quick questions that are there are present. This is our entire contact team across all branches. Plus, We have also, as you highlighted, if suppose you have difficulty understanding any part, we have self-online. So you go to YouTube, we have self-study online modules. So around 14 videos are there for your KRA, KYC, client onboarding, SIP, everything is given online. You have any difficulty, you can always click that, go through that entire video, and in any place understanding difficulty, please feel free to contact any of our regional managers and they'll be happy to assist you. Any quick questions before we just close? This was the last.
Any new updates?
Just for MF, can you also invest in shares, direct shares?
No, this is purely on the mutual fund piece. Yeah, the shares part would be subsequently. You can connect to that. Okay, I should just take it. Have it for the non-demat piece, so we'll be sharing the entire details to you in a short while. Last is also we are working on the non-financial transactions, so that maybe one by one feature as the RTAs are integrating, we'll be circulating across. So anything else, we are there, we'll be there at the counter and we'll be happy to address any other thing. And any feedback also is completely welcome. Don't consider that it's only that you have any queries. Any feedback, we are always open to take any feedback and incorporate it. Okay? Thank you so much.